Hello, Garland Nixon here, and it's Tuesday night, and I am live, and we've got some interesting stories. The apparently Biden and his flock of idiots are perplexed at the White House. They can't understand. Everything's going bad for them, and we're going to talk about some things that are going bad. Looks like Poland's returning to the Stone Age. Let's talk. Hello, hello, Garland here. Never doing too good here. I'm trying. I am just having a time here lately with Rockfin. But my plan is at some point is to make sure that everybody can join me on Rockfin. We got great stuff going here. So, all right. My God, man. I'm just screwing this thing up major. Is to make sure that everybody, how about if I hit share? There we go. What I'm actually trying to do is figure out how to share in the comments here, my rock fan, because to make sure that everybody here knows that bad things could happen anytime on Twitter. That the people who don't like us on any given day may just say, "Look, we've had about enough of you bastards, and your mouths are shut." But I'm on Rockfin, ROKFIN.com. You look in the you can see the screen, you can see the stream right there. You can also look in the show comments, and all the information is there, and I'll update you. But please, if you're a member here, be a member of my Rockfin. Rockfin.com/Garland Nixon. You can subscribe. It's no cost. If you want to become a member, it's $9.99 a month, and that's premium membership. And then you can see premium from anybody on Rockfin. Rockfin's great, but you can be a subscriber for free. And don't forget, patreon.com. I'm on Patreon. All that stuff's in the show notes. My Patreon's in there, PayPal, etc. All right, let's get down to it because I have been demonetized probably for stuff just like this. Let's talk about the dear Joe Biden and his flock of idiots. And we're going to actually go over what they're looking at. And we're going to see what their problems are. And we're going to see how they're looking at it and discuss it. All right. Here's an article. And it's Politico, and it's titled, "Biden wants to get out more. Seething that his standing is now worse than," don't say it, the T word, Trump, Trump, Trumpity, Trump, Trump. These clowns are so concerned with Trump. And the worst thing he could ever think, oh my God, not Trump. I couldn't be lower than Trump. So let's go and let's see what these clowns are talking about here. All right. President Joe Biden and his aides have grown increasingly frustrated by their inability to turn the tide. And the way I like when I read these articles, I like to go word by word and pick them apart. As I told many people, in my former world as a law enforcement official, as it were, at one point I ran the investigations division, and I learned how to do statement analysis. So we're going to do some statement analysis, and all it is, you pull it apart, pull a statement apart, sentence by sentence, and try to figure out what the person is saying. So let's look at this, because this came from the inside somewhere. President Joe Biden and his aides have grown, and that's what I like to do. That's one of the things we're going to do. You're going to go with a person who is trained in statement analysis to go bit by bit, sentence by sentence, and see what we got. President Joe Biden and his aides have grown increasingly frustrated by their inability. Now, what is frustration, right? Frustration is when you're trying to accomplish something, you're unable to accomplish it, or you want something to happen and you don't know why. You don't know how to accomplish it. That's where frustration arrives. You're trying to accomplish something, a goal or whatever, and you don't know why whatever you're doing is not working. You get frustrated, and oftentimes frustrated comes from people that are too stupid to try something different. All right, let's go on. There's some fundamental blocks that these idiots have, but we're going to get to that. By their inability to turn the tide against the cascade of challenges threatening to overwhelm the administration, right? So here's what they're saying. They're frustrated because they're unable. What did I just say? They got a bunch of challenges and they're unable to to change, do anything about it. And look what it says, threatening to overwhelm the administration. They're feeling like, oh my God, we're going to get crushed. And I think when they say they're what's threatening to overwhelm the administration, what they're really talking about is the midterms. What they're saying is there's a lot of problems. We don't know what to do, and we're going to get our asses kicked in the midterms. And all of those things are right. You got a lot of problems. You're too damn stupid to figure out how to fix them. You're a bunch of ideologues. Well, you're not stupid. You're ideologues. An ideologue manifests itself as stupidity, but it is not stupidity. Stupidity implies your processing power of your brain, but that ain't it. It's an inability to think outside of a very specific Overton window. Okay, let's continue. Soaring global inflation, rising fuel prices, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a Supreme Court poised to take away a constitutional right, a potentially resurgent pandemic, a Congress too deadlocked to tackle sweeping gun safety legislation, even amid an onslaught of mass shootings. You'll notice something about all of those things. You will notice something. One of the issues of a sociopath, and I always get back to these people are sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists, right? And all of the above. In some way, shape, or form, they exhibit the traits of all of these, psychopaths, their foreign policy, they murder and slaughter people without thought. Sociopaths, we know about sociopaths, psychopaths? They have no conscience. And even narcissists, what do we know about them? About a narcissist, refuses to take responsibility for their actions. A narcissist will hit another person and say, "You made me hit you." If you want to, words of a narcissist is, "You made me, you forced me. I didn't want to do it. The circumstances forced me." A narcissist never ever takes responsibilities for their actions, so they're always blaming other people. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't had to have done this. You made me do this. I had to do this because you. They'll never say, "I chose to do this." So what do they say? Soaring global inflation. Nothing we can do about that. Rising fuel prices. Oh my God, we just looked around in the fuel prices. It had nothing to do with the sanctions against Russia. Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Well, when Russia came to you in December with a list of things and said, "Look, here's a list, but one of them is important. We want Ukraine to be neutral and for you to stop filling Ukraine full of weapons." And they're like, "Oh, screw you, man. We ain't listening to you." But now Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Oh my God, how'd that happen? Who could have possibly predicted that? Who saw that coming? Again, the narcissist is not taking responsibility for their part in the outcome of the things going on around them. So what we see is a resurgent pandemic. Oh my God, everything's going bad. A Congress too deadlocked to tackle sweeping gun safety. Congress, we could do this if it wasn't for Congress. You notice the pattern here? They are not responsible. So if you look at the first two sentences, what do you get? The administration is frustrated by their inability to turn the tide against a cascade of challenges. And then in the second sentence, they mention all the challenges, but nowhere in that does it say we contributed to these. So let me say this. I've heard this said, there's only two things in this world. Things that you can control and things that you can't control. And whichever one you focus on will rule your life. They're basically saying, we're frustrated. We can't do anything. All these things are happening. We have no power or authority. It just happened. We don't know when we're frustrated because it's like I just walk outside and things fall out of the sky on me. A refusal to take responsibility for their actions. And we continue. In crisis after crisis, the White House has found itself, listen to this, listen to these words, either limited or helpless in its efforts to combat the forces pummeling them. Oh, these poor people. Who would have thought? The American people are scared of getting nuked by these maniacs? Start World War III by these friggin' idiots? We're scared we're going to starve to death? Who knows? The economy is going to crash. We're going to lose every dime we got in the market. Our pensions will be gone when the market crashes. We're scared of people can barely feed their kids and buy fuel. People have businesses and they got to buy fuel to run maybe the lawnmowers for their lawn business, the equipment for their construction business. They got to buy 2x4s to build things and they can't afford it. And what do they say? The White House is limited or helpless in its efforts to combat the forces pummeling them. Who would have thought that the Biden administration was the victim? Again, that's narcissist talk. Narcissists only think about themselves. So whenever you you say your problems to a narcissist is always going to say this. Well, what about me? I'm the real victim here. The narcissist always thinks they're the victim because they don't give a shit about anybody else. There we go. Narcissism talk. Let us continue. Morale inside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is plummeting amid growing fears that the parallels to Jimmy Carter, another first-term Democrat, plagued. Now, remember, not that the Biden administration can do anything. They're plagued by soaring prices and a foreign policy morass. They're plagued by that. All of the language they're doing, none of it takes responsibility. These are things that they're plagued by. It just happened to them. It is something that has bedeviled quite a few presidents. Again, the narcissist talk. Hey, it's not just sure I have problems, lots of problems, but I mean other problems that other presidents had problems they couldn't fix. I mean, take Abraham Lincoln. Oh, wait a minute, he did a pretty good job. FDR. That's right, FDR kind of won the war, fixed things. Well, but we got like other presidents, we got things. There's nothing we can do about. We're plagued again. Lots of things happen on your watch. Now, remember what I'm saying. All they're going to talk about is in this. If you read this thing, it's going to be the narcissist, the sociopath. Things are happening to me that I can't control. I'm the real victim here. There's nothing I can do. You will find when you listen to narcissists, sociopaths, that always goes through it. I'm the real victim here. Hey, you just murdered that guy, but I twisted my arm while I was stabbing him. I mean, I'm the real victim here. That's a sociopath. And these people, hey, terrible things are going on. The people are suffering. Yeah, but we're being pummeled in the White House. Oh, by the way, hold on. The cook's coming in here. I've got to order some of that pan-seared trout. And I think we're having a little bit of grilled asparagus with it and a nice chablis. But we're the really ones suffering. But screw those people out there who are starving. Okay. Now listen to this. Lots of things happen on your watch, but it doesn't mean there's a magic wand to fix it, said Robert Gibbs, a press secretary for President Obama. The limits, you notice this, the limits of the presidency are not well grasped. The responsibility of the president is greater than the tools he has to fix it. Think about it. When he's running for office, the president says, I'm running for office. Put me in charge. I'm the man. I'm the captain. I'm the pope. I'm the general. I'm the emperor. I am the commander. Damn it. You give me the helm and I will right and straighten this ship. I will bring us back to normalcy. That when you make me president, that's it. It's all done. I'm handling the problems. Yeah, there's problems and they're tough. Put me in the White House and I'll fix them. That's what Biden and all presidents say. Then he gets in and he's like, the responsibility of the president is greater than the tools that he has to fix them. The limits are not well grasped. Well, why didn't you tell us that while you were running and people wouldn't have voted for you? Which then that's a whole other story. But you see what I'm saying? You're running and you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And all of a sudden now the limits. We don't have the tools. Again, the entire pathetic, weak, sad, line of reasoning that runs through this entire article is we're weak. There's nothing we can do. We're the real victims. Let's continue. The West Wing believes there's a time for course correction. So there's time. We can fix it. We can fix it. But what to do? Whatever will they come up with? Will it be to make a diplomatic deal with the Russians and to try to do something to get, say, hey, Russia, look, we're going to take remove all sanctions from Iran and Venezuela. We'll get their oil back on the market. We'll get prices down. We'll make a deal with Russia to get Ukraine's wheat out. We'll make a food crisis. We got crisis. We'll deal with this gas thing so we can get fertilizer back out. There's some things, if I'm president, I'm thinking about. Let's see what these geniuses want to do. They're going to fix it all. Oh, I'm so excited to find out how. Which one of those things? The plan is to put Biden on the road to highlight progress being made, even incrementally, in meeting the series of tests with visits this week to California, where he will reside over some. So there we go. Everything's going to hell on your watch. Okay, guys, I'm ready. What's your plan? All right. Okay, we got it, man. We're going to fix it, right? We're going to put Biden on the road. Okay, and he's going to have a series of tests with visits this week to California, where he will preside over a summit of Western Hemisphere allies. I don't know if you've been following the summits of Americas. It's a debacle. Like none of the Latino countries are coming because the U.S. is hosting the Summit of Americas in California. They said Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba can't attend. Even the president of Mexico ain't coming. Like none of the leaders in Latin America are coming except the puppets. And the president of Mexico, and nah, I'm not coming. If those three countries, so he's going to start with a debacle. Summit of the Americas. Well, let's see where he goes from there. Oh boy, the plan is going to work. So, as well as New Mexico, to push for his climate agenda. There we go. That'll surely work. He's not going to do anything about his climate agenda. He's going to push for it. The administration will also set aside its reluctance to work with a pariah nation and hopes to spur oil production. And it plans to sharpen its attacks on Republic. Now, here we go. Here's the plan. Oh, man, this is going to address prices. It's going to bring inflation down. It's going to bring uh, 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 prices down, inflation down. It's going to just do everything. This is the one. Here's the plan that these geniuses at the White House have. You ready? You ready? I know you're not ready for this because they're smarter than all of us. It plans to sharpen its attacks on Republicans, aiming to paint the GOP as out of touch with mainstream America on issues like gun safety and abortion, all while hoping the upcoming January 6th congressional hearings will further color the party as too extremist and dangerous to return to power. Let me say this. Again, let's evaluate that. So you got all of these problems, right? Think about it. They started off by saying we got a lot of problems. Okay, what are the problems? Oh, all these things are happening. You got a war over there. You got oil prices. You got all these things just pummeling. It's terrible and we're looking bad. Okay, what are you going to do? We're going to attack Republicans and try to make them look worse than us. In other words, think about this. What they're really saying is our problem that we're going to focus on addressing is not the problems of the American people. It's not gas prices. It's not inflation. We're going to hope that January 6th congressional hearings will further color the party as too extremist and dangerous. Their plan is to address the way they look to the American people. Remember what I told you at the beginning. What did they say? They're concerned about the midterms. They started off by saying that their challenges are threatening to overwhelm the administration. They were talking about the midterms. And what is their plan? Their plan is sharpen attacks on Republicans, aiming to paint the GOP as out of touch with the mainstream. And then they go on to say, hoping the upcoming January 6th congressional hearings will further color the party as too extremist and dangerous. Two things. What they're saying is we want to make the Republicans look bad because the only problem they're concerned with is getting blasted in the midterms. They don't give a shit about us. Let's go on. Think about this. They're going to hope the January 6th congressional hearings further the Republicans as too extremists. In other words, the January 6th hearings are just political. They're not trying to get justice. They don't feel like, oh, that was a threat to America. We got to address it. No, they're telling you the truth right now. What are you going to do with those hearings? Man, we're going to try to repair. We're looking bad. We got to make the Republicans. And they don't even say they're going to make themselves look better. They're going to hope the hearings color the Republicans as too extremist and dangerous to return to power. In other words, we're only concerned about the midterms. And we don't care about you people. We want to turn you into suckers and saps. So you'll just say, well, I can't vote for the Republicans because they're too bad. I guess I have to vote for the Biden team. So their concern is the midterms. And they don't give a crap about our problems. Let us continue. But first, aides need to quell the finger pointing that's been erupting internally and the increasing concern over staff shakeups. According to 5 White House officials, the Democrats close to the administration not authorized to publicly discuss internal conversations. They also increasingly are trying to soothe the greatest source of West Wing frustration coming from behind the Resolute desk. And they go on to say, the president has expressed exasperation that his poll numbers have sunk below those of Trump while Biden routinely refers to in private as the worst president in history in an existential threat. Well, you may think he's the worst president in history and an existential threat to the nation's democracy. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. That's your right to your belief, Joe Biden. But you got worse numbers. If those things are true, if you're right, what does that make you? If you're right, if he is the worst president and all that, what does that make you? He got better numbers than you do. So Biden's pissed that his numbers are below Trump, right? After publication, the White House spokesperson Andrew Bates said this depiction of the White House is divorced from reality. Far more prone to salty language behind the scenes than popular known. Not more than popularly known. Not everybody knows Biden's an asshole. He's telling people, "Hey, you want to do push-ups? Look fat." Oh yeah, who would have thought that that guy was a jerk? Biden also recently erupted. In other words, he hit the ceiling over being kept out of the loop about the direness of the baby formula shortage. Right? He didn't want to be painted as slow to act on a problem. In fact, he wouldn't really care about the fact that there's no baby formula. He didn't want to be painted as slow to act. If you start to realize these nuts, the only thing they care about is their looks, how they're looked. They don't give a shit about reality. Hey, what about this baby food formula? Babies are starving. Yeah, but we got to make sure that I don't look bad here. First of all, I mean, babies, who cares about them? I don't want to be looked, I don't want it to look like I'm slow to act. I don't care if a million babies die, as long as I don't look like I'm slow to act. All right, let's go on. Some aides fear the moment. Okay, we'll not forget baby formula. Member of Biden's inner circle, including First Lady Joe Biden and the president's sister, Valerie Biden Owens, have complained that, listen to this, West Wing staff has managed Biden with kid gloves, not putting him on the road more or allowing him to flash more of his genuine, relatable, albeit gaffe-prone self. So his wife and sister, but they don't love that guy. I'm telling you right now, they don't love that guy. They don't even like him. What do you think we ought to do with old Uncle Sniffy here? Oh, let's see. He's shaking hands with the Invisible Man. He's in a wrestling contest with the Easter Bunny. He seems lost and confused most of the time. Let's let him get out there and just be his real self. Oh, that's a brilliant. I'm all for it. I think they should do it. See, but Joe Biden, nothing's going to happen to him because he's got an insurance policy. He's got the best life insurance policy in the history of humankind. Kamala Harris, who the hell wants anything to happen to Joe Biden, as horrible as he is, with the thought that Kamala Harris might be president? I'm telling you right now, if Garland Nixon ever becomes president, I'm bringing Kamala Harris as my VP, because you know what? Even if I die in office, they will give me the Weekend at Bernie's treatment. They will put some glasses on me and they will wheel my limp dead body out, because nobody on this earth thinks that Kamala Harris, who talks to everybody like they're an elementary school, like they're a kindergarten. Look, well, boys and girls, the big country attacked the little fuzzy country and tried to eat it all up. We don't want the big country to eat the poor little fuzzy country up. That's the way she talks. She's out of her mind. So there you go. Insurance policy. He's got the best. Really, if you think about it, the man, you talk about a free hand. He can do anything he wants for 4 years because they ain't killing him. They ain't running him out of office. People are like, they got to get rid of Biden. Kamala Harris, really? I think Biden's he's in pretty good shape right now. He's in pretty good shape. All right. He's got job security. He may be a lot of things, but you can't call that man stupid. Anybody who picked Kamala Harris as a running mate is pretty damn sharp. They know how to keep a job. On we go. One person close to the president pushed for more "let Biden be Biden" moments, with the president himself claiming that he does not get to interact enough with voters. Oh, don't we really want to see old Brandon out here? You know what I think they should do with him? Town hall meetings. Remember, like Bernie did that town hall meeting with the West Virginians and stuff like that? Send old Brandon out there. Let him do some town hall meetings. Totally unscripted. Just give him a mic. Go ahead there, Brandon. You let him have it, buddy. Let Brandon be Brandon. That's what I think they should do. And apparently there's some people in the White House that agree. So yay. The White House has pointed to both security and COVID concerns in restricting the travel of the 79-year-old president. Oh, yeah. We can't let this guy go out there and talk to people because he might get COVID and, somebody might kill him. No, as I told you, even the people that hate his guts don't want to kill him. So he's pretty good. He's got pretty good job security. But let's just hope. I mean, for comedians, can you imagine what Jimmy Dore will get out of this? Man, for comedy's sake, we got to get Joe Biden on the road. So I'm all for that. Let us continue. Remember what I said. Narcissists never take responsibility for their actions. And let me read the next sentence. A lot of things are out of his control, and we are frustrated. And all Democrats, not just the White House, but any with a platform, need to do a better job of. Listen to this. You're going to love this. You're going to love this. This is the tell-all sentence. First of all, they said a lot of things are out of his control, and we're frustrated. Once again, we're powerless. We're the real victims. But here's what he says. All Democrats need to do a better job of reminding Americans of how terrible it would be if Republicans take control, said Adrian Elrod, a senior aide on Biden's transition team and aide to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Well, thou there. She was an aide to Hillary Clinton's campaign. I wonder how Hillary lost with rocket scientists like Adrian Elrod. I can't imagine. So everything's gone to hell for the average American. Should we do anything to address their problems? No. Here's the plan. We're going to tell people how bad it'll be if the Republicans win. How could that possibly lose? What a brilliant idea. Man, why didn't we think of that? No, we actually thought, what are you going to do to make our lives more manageable? Hey, Joe Biden, what are you going to do to make our lives more manageable? And Joe's like, I don't understand the question. Complicating the White House efforts to turn around the president's midterm fate has been, notice this, fate. Now we're into fate, his fate. In other words, he has no control over this. It's just his fate. Fate, it's just a fateful situation for him. Poor bastard. Just like, you're walking down the street and a bird poops on you. That's just your fate. The bird's there, they're moving at 20 miles an hour, the wind's blowing this way, the poop comes down. It's just your fate to get hit by bird poop. It's one of those things. It's going to happen if you live long enough. And that's Joe Biden. They want to turn around his midterm fate. Remember what I told you? In the beginning, it was clear. This was only about the midterms. Complicating the White House efforts to turn around the president's midterm fate has been the exodus of staff from his communication shop. Yeah, imagine that. From Press General Secretary Jen Psaki, who went to take a big barrel of money, can't imagine why she left, to several deputy press aides. Psaki's successor, Karine Jean-Pierre, took the post with little experience. You don't need experience. You're dealing with these idiots. And allies were critical when days later, the White House brought over her Pentagon counterpart, John Kirby, to join the staff. If you're going to bring in somebody who don't know what they're doing, why not bring in somebody else that doesn't know what they're doing? And then you'll have two people that don't know what the hell they're doing. There we go. It's like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. All right, so let's go on. The staff drama hasn't ended there. While Biden is undyingly loyal to his small inner circle of advisors, seems to hate everybody else, whispers in the building have built over whether the return of Anita Dunn back to the senior advisor post could portend her eventually succeeding Ron Klain as the chief of staff. Of course it will. They'll bring in a woman. And if she's gay or bi or non-gendered and something like that, then of course that's going to fix it all. Hey, what are you going to do with Ron Klain? We've replaced him with a woman. And she's got pink hair. Was she bi or gay? We're not sure, but she's got pink hair. So that means something. We got to get some style points for pink hair, don't we? There we go. With worries rising about the Democrats' fate this November. Well, what do you know? Who saw that this whole article was not about, think about this, an article in Politico, right? That says there's problems everywhere. People are inflation, there's war, there's hunger, there's strife, stress, and plague, right? And you get down to the article, really, what are you going to address? Well, screw all that. We're going to deal with the Democrats not losing in November. They don't give a shit about us, in case you hadn't figured that out. They don't care about us. They are concerned about their fate over which they have no control. In November, on we go. With worries rising about the Democrats' fate this November. Who's worrying? People are worrying about how they can afford to fill their tank up. Hey, I was planning on taking vacation, but instead, I think we'll eat. The White House switched to more aggressive attacks on Republicans recently. So there you go. Hey, Joe, you going to talk about what you accomplished over the last 2 years? Are you kidding? I haven't done a damn thing other than, start wars and shake hands with invisible people. Okay, that's what we got. We got a party that says we haven't done a damn thing for you and we ain't about to. You notice they didn't say, hey, Joe, you're going to pass some legislation to help the little guy. What about the working man? What about people over here? Could you do something for the little guy? Yeah, and he's like, "Oh yeah, really? Sure. Okay, fine. Yeah, let's get back. Can we deal with reality here? Let's attack the Republicans. We'll make them look bad. These dumb jackass sheep will come back and vote for us again, and we'll win. Hey, what do you think about that? Don't think it's going to work, Brandon." Frustrated that the GOP has not been called to task for releasing few policy ideas of its own. Wait a minute. They just ask you what you're going to do. Are you going to release any policy ideas? Hell no. What do you think? Crazy policy ideas? I got none. But I'm frustrated that the Republicans haven't released any public policy ideas. Well, you better hope they don't, because you got none. Biden has gone hard after a tax plan put out by Senator Rick Scott, but these broadsides have gained little traction. Yeah, because people are like hungry. They're like, "Hey, you gonna watch TV tonight?" Nah, I need food. Food. Oh, anything for food. I'm starving to death. Well, why don't you ride out to get something to eat? I can't afford gas. And he's like, "Hey, I got a plan. You got any? You have a tax plan, Joe?" Well, I know, of course. You kidding me? No, I'm going to go after the Republicans' tax plan. Let us continue. The president is taking action to lower prices and fight the global rise in inflation, building on the unprecedented job creation and the manufacturing resurgence he has delivered. And he's working with Congress to cut the deficit as well as many of the biggest costs families face, like energy and prescription. He knows what families are going through. I love that. President's taking action to lower prices and to cut the deficit. That sounds good. That sounds good. What are you doing? Man, I'm working to making $100 billion. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to make $100 billion. That's my plan. $100 billion. How you going to do it, Garland? Well, I haven't quite worked that out yet. But I'm telling you, there's $100 billion coming. That's him. He's taking action to lower prices and fight the global rise in inflation. And precisely what actions? I guess we're just supposed to take his word for it, huh? How about this? He's working with Congress to cut the deficit. He just said the Republicans won't work with him to do a damn thing. We're working to cut the deficit. First of all, you ain't even doing that. But secondly, how the hell is that going to help me? Or what? Let me ask you this: are you going to stop quantitative easing? Hey, you're going to cut the deficit. You're going to stop giving 120 billion a month to the stock market? Are you kidding? Hell no. Our economy will crash because the system has failed. So we got to prop up the stock market with 120 billion a month. But other than that, we got Nathan for you, buddy. On we go. But here we go again. But much of what the White House can accomplish is only around the edges. What they can accomplish, in other words, there's nothing they can do, man. You got to feel sorry for them. They ain't much. They can just do tiny little things. They really can't do anything bold like they promised they would do. Biden sounded the alarm about the potential overturn of Roe v. Wade and continues to push Congress to act on guns in the. Yeah, okay. He also signals in his Thursday evening speech that he knows that Congress at most will pass small measures on firearms that will leave much of his party dissatisfied. Okay, wait, what are you going to do? Well, I don't really have a plan. I'm going to say the Republicans look bad. January 6th, we're going to hope that helps. And then I don't think there's pretty much anything I can get through. Bad news, buddy. You're screwed. And while Biden has received high marks, even from some Republicans, for holding together an alliance to stand up to Russia in the wake of its invasion of Ukraine. High marks. People are like, you're giving $40 billion to these Nazis, and I don't have a dime, dude. And let me tell you, what little support you got left for the Ukraine, that's going. That's going to go. People are paying like $6, $7, $8 a gallon. They don't give a crap about the Nazis in Ukraine. Trust me. Even if they weren't Nazis, people would get old. That stuff would get old real quick. And the Republicans, good job. You love this. He received high marks even from some Republicans for holding together an alliance that will stand up to Russia. Yeah, when it comes to war, one thing about both parties, hey, we got a war going on that could possibly cause an extinction level event. Oh, we got great job there, buddy. But I thought, wait a minute, he's got high marks from Republicans. I thought that earlier in this thing, he said that he was going to try to say that the Republicans are extremists that shouldn't hold office. I would agree based on the fact that they're supporting you, you idiot. Voters this fall will likely care far more about some of the war's aftershocks, as further strain on supply chains has only added to rising inflation and, most painfully for the White House, soaring gas prices. Then they go on to some other stuff, Saudi Arabia. Listen to this. Biden's inner circle is well aware of recent presidential precedent. Presidents Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton both overcame a rough midterms. But H.W. Bush and especially Carter were felled by shaky economies and rising inflation. In other words, this whole thing is about saying it's not his fault. Nothing to me. They don't talk about the fact of that what happened in the 70s was as a result of all the money that was spent on the Vietnam War. Can't talk about that, can we? Carter lost because of inflation and bad feelings about the economy. Vietnam War. And a sense that America was flailing. Unlike now, totally different. Inflation, bad feelings about the economy, a sense that America was flailing. That's why Carter lost. Totally different than the way things are now. He can't just be a mourner in chief. He just can't play defense. He needs to be on offense and convince Americans that despite the challenges, better days are ahead. So you got to convince people of something that isn't true. What's the plan? We got to go out there and give people a message. What's the message? Things are getting better. Are things getting better? Are you kidding? Hell no, we're screwed. But we got to convince these idiots and sheep of that, or they'll never vote for me. All right, so that's Brandon. There we go. Now here's oh, you're gonna love this one. Oh, you're gonna love this one. This is a good one. So speaking of Joe Biden's neocon policies and how they're looking out for the little guy, let's move forward to Europe. Yes, sirree. The Europeans are really showing those damn Ruskies, aren't they? They're giving them whatnot. They are sanctioning the Ruskies. They're giving the Ruskies hell. Let's take a look at how bad the Ruskies have it. Authorities in Warsaw have allowed citizens to forage for firewood in forests to keep their homes heated amid spiraling energy crisis. Poland is in the midst of a coal shortage after banning Russian imports. So we fixed the Russians. We're not banning them. We're not taking coal and gas from them anymore. Okay, what are we going to do, boss? Well, you could wander around the forest and see if you can find some wood. Maybe that'll help. Now, I would imagine if you're living in Warsaw, like let's just say in an apartment, what the hell is wood going to do you? Where are you going to burn it? Where are you going to burn it? You can't start a fire in your apartment. You don't have a chimney. I mean, the people who have wood stoves are already out, and fireplaces are already out in the rural areas. And guess what? They probably already got firewood, but they're going to be now allowed to forage. That's where these idiots have taken the EU. They are now foraging. They haven't foraged for hundreds of years. People in this day and age shouldn't be foraging. It's not like I get up. What are you going to do today, Garland? Well, after I sharpen my stone tools and start a fire with this piece of flint and steel and run from a saber-toothed tiger, I think I'll do some foraging. That's hey, what do you like to do, Garland? Golf, play cards, maybe a little bit of fishing. No, I'm a forager because that's what my ancestors did. Got to get back to foraging. It's always possible, and you're going to love that. Talk about neoliberalism. It is always possible with the consent of foresters to collect branches for fuel. Deputy Minister of Climate and Energy, Edward something or other said. Those wishing, listen to this. This is neoliberalism. You'll love it. Those wishing to gather wood. Now you're walking out in the woods. You're cold because these jackasses that run your country have decided they're going to show Russians they're not going to get coal or gas from Russia anymore. Those wishing to gather wood must first undergo training and obtain permission from the local forestry unit. You talk about neoliberalism. Hey, I'm going to gather some wood. But first you must be trained how to gather wood. People have been gathering wood ever since there was people. When they couldn't even talk. When they were like communicating with simple grunts and clicks. Walking around with a rudimentary stone tools, they knew how to gather wood. If they didn't gather wood, they didn't cook whatever animal they'd gotten with their spears, and they died of starvation. Of course, they could forage for nuts and berries. Foraging was nice, and now people are back to foraging. Okay, good exercise. But these mutton heads are now like, people can only take branches already lying on the ground and cannot cut down trees. Only branches can be gathered at the same time. The collected branches cannot be thicker than 7 centimeters. Talk about neoliberalism. Hey, go forage. But first, we got to train you how to forage. And then you've got to carry a gauge with you. I guess you'll get a ticket. These jackasses have cut off coal from Russia. They've cut off gas. The people are like, I'm freezing. Go gather some firewood. Fire? Did you say forage for firewood? Yeah, go do that. And by the way, here's a little gauge. It's a 7 millimeter gauge. The branches can't be bigger than that. We're gonna have to give you some training because foraging isn't just something anybody can do. I wonder if they'll have a certificate, like a certified forager. He explained that branches should be taken to the local forester who will issue an invoice. Collectors will have to pay between 7 and 30 zlotys, which is about $7, for a pound, approximately 1/4 of a cubic meter of firewood. It's cheaper to do, it would be cheaper to burn your furniture. It'd be cheaper to melt gold in your house. 1/4 of a cubic meter of firewood for $7. And you have to be trained. Neoliberalism has destroyed the EU. That, my friends, is neoliberalism. If you want to forage for wood, you must first be trained by the government, right? Um, and what does it say? You're going to be trained by the government and get a permit to forage for wood. And then you can only get wood laying on the ground. So are they going to have the cops out there running through the woods following people? Hey, you broke that branch off. That one's broken off of a tree. Put that branch back. And they're going to give you like some duct tape, or you got to tape it back to the tree and hope it grows, or you get fined $100. And then, oh, there you go, picking wood up off the ground. And it can't be larger than 7 meters, right? Where is it? Only branches at the same time. They cannot be thicker than 7 centimeters. Well, let me ask you something. Why? There's a dead piece of wood lying on the ground, rotting, and you look at it and you're like, man, that's 8 centimeters. That's darn. And I wanted to burn that piece of wood. We're going to freeze to death tonight. All the wood we found was 8 centimeters. What is the logic of saying that a cold family who's freezing can't get a piece of wood because it's 8 centimeters? In fact, wouldn't you want larger pieces of wood to put in the fireplace so they'll burn longer? I have a fireplace. I can tell you, you want bigger. You get the fireplace going with small pieces, and then you put bigger pieces in. And like if you're going to leave it for a while, you put a bunch of big pieces in. I don't use it to heat my house. I mean, I like the heat off of it. I like to sit in the couch in front of the fireplace and watch TV or something. But I guess if I was in Poland, I'd be cooking and whatever I could forage up to eat. I guess in the forest, I'd be cooking that too. Moss or whatever the hell. I guess you can eat moss. Yeah, I put it like this. The Polish people better find out if they can eat moss, because they ain't going to have a whole lot else. All right. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, whatever the hell that government, has blamed the war in Ukraine for skyrocketing energy costs. And perhaps, I'm just going to throw this out there, probably completely unrelated, but the war in Ukraine and perhaps the fact that your own government banned buying coal and gas from the country that was supplying all your coal and gas. I'm not going to say that maybe the war in Ukraine could have been tangentially related, but the fact that you said where do we get all our coal and gas from that country that's next door? We're not buying anymore. Okay, hey, you know one thing? We don't have coal or gas. Gee, how the hell did that happen? It must be the war in Ukraine. Critics say the conflict is only partially to blame, arguing that costs have risen for the past 7 years. Inflation in Poland has climbed 14% in recent weeks, with fuel prices hitting about $1.87 per liter. I don't know what kind of fuel that is. Wood, maybe? Do you have to measure your gas to make sure it's not bigger than 8 or 80? I don't know what the hell. Demand for raw materials in Poland has far exceeded domestic output since a ban on Russian coal was imposed. Though the military conflict in Ukraine, Warsaw has been calling for a complete embargo on Russian energy. In March, the EU nation said it would end all Russian energy imports, including oil, gas, and coal, by the end of 2022. According to media reports, Poland's wood imports from Russia and Belarus stopped completely at the outbreak of the conflict, and those from Ukraine have fallen by around 75%. You know what I have to say about dumbass people? They get what they got coming. I am happy for the Poles. I am so happy to see the Poles wandering through the forest, foraging for wood and I guess food soon. Good for them. Excellent. For this reason, if you're that damn stupid, you should be for. Look, let's face it. If your brain has regressed to that of a knuckle dragon caveman, nothing against caveman's men, then you should live like one. If you think like a caveman, you should live like a caveman. These idiots are thinking like cavemen and they are living like cavemen. And that's and guess what, Germany? You should read that article. You know what, UK and France and Italy, read that article. Because you'll soon be foraging yourself. You'll be foraging for food. You'll be for wandering the streets like zombies. Brains, which is something you won't find in the EU right now. If you're a zombie and you're living off brains, you're going to starve to hell to death in the EU because these people are stupid beyond belief. So that's it. The Brandon administration is perplexed, bewildered. I don't know. Could it be the fact that people don't like foraging in the woods? And I once, now, if you know, I've said, all of the old fables that I read when I was a kid had people sitting around eating porridge. And I've said for a while the people in Europe are going to go back to porridge. I disagree now. I was wrong. They ain't even gonna have porridge. Porridge, I understand, is pretty tasty. And they will be happy to get their hands on some porridge, but that ain't what they're going to get. Here's what I would say. I once went with this guy on a walk through Washington D.C. through the park, one of these parks, and it was one of these things where they identified edible plants. You walk through and they're like, see this right here? It's got lots of vitamin D, E, and Z, and whatever. Right? Look at this. That looks like a common plant, doesn't it? Nettle leaf. Well, do you know it's one of the dandelion leaves full of vitamin, whatever, beta carotene, you name it, right? So you walk through the woods. They showed us this pulled up this wild garlic, and I mean, cleaned it right off, bit it, the stuff. It was delicious, actually. It was a wild garlic, and it tasted like garlic, but you could actually bite it and eat it because didn't have that really strong garlicky flavor. It was just a mild garlic. It was awesome. Here's they need to do in Europe. They need to get some people to take them on some nature hikes and identify um, edible plants. You might want to work on edible plants. You might want to practice your foraging if you live in England. If there's a forest nearby and you can forage, you might want to practice your foraging. You might want to really get sharp on your foraging because I think those are skills you're going to be needing. A furrier, you know what that is? A person who does. I knew a guy that did that. He did horseshoes, like where my sister lives, which is not. I mean, she's not far from here. I mean, 15, 20 minutes. In the area we live in, Maryland is very, very, very highly populated. I'm just saying she lives in an area where there's all these horse farms and stuff, right? Well, guess what? Europe. That's how I know a furrier is a person who works on does shoes horses, right? There's a good job. If you are in Europe, you might want to practice your furrier skills because when industry closes down, there's going to be going back to a lot of horses and buggies, maybe building buggies, buggy maintenance, things like that, things like that. Maybe hand looms. You might want to get some sheep. You might want to take care of some sheep because that way you'll be able to, get your own wool. And, one person can watch the sheep while the other person forages for, when you cook the sheep or whatever the hell you're going to do at night, you're going to have to forage for woods. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to look out for the people in Europe. They are following Brandon down the road to economic hell, and there's going to be a price to pay. Shout out to the Poles. I got to give you credit, man. I thought the days of foraging were behind us, but the Poles are forging ahead with the forage movement. And in fact, you know how like the hipsters now, there's a big thing, right? I don't know about it, with the hipsters of having chickens, apparently. In fact, I got a neighbor, right? They got a beautiful home, right? Gigantic garage, all this stuff, right? And they got all the toys that you could ever imagine. You know what I mean? These John Deere things with the 6-wheelers that you ride. The kids are riding up, down, riding around, going back in the woods, making trails with all these things. So they do all the hip stuff, right? My next door neighbor. But I look over there one day and they got a chicken coop. And it's like cool modern chicken coop, not like the old fashioned chicken coops from the country. This is like the cool hipster modern. They're young, cool hipster modern chicken coop with it looks like a gigantic, like the guinea pig cages they have with all of the things for guinea pigs. It's literally like a giant guinea pig cage, right? And so that's the hipster stuff. I'm just saying in Europe, maybe even here, but definitely Europe, You're gonna want to go with you want to go with some chickens, some sheep, some chickens, and find some way to protect them because the Ukrainian refugees, they're coming, and they're gonna be hungry because they don't have a place to stay. They can't very well go back to Ukraine. That ain't an option. Your country ain't going to be happy with them because they're going to be pissed at them, blaming them for everything. You know, it's not really their fault. But hey, they're going to be caught up, and hopefully some of them won't get eaten. That would be a terrible outcome. Look out for them. I mean, these people are refugees, women and children running from war. I mean, if you ever heard of the Donner Pass, people get hungry sometimes. Things happen. I'm just saying things happen. So let's just hope nobody gets eaten, and the foraging skills are good, and sheep, chickens, things like that. Let's go back to that time in Europe, and rapidly we're going there, when people had sheep and chickens and things like that, and they could live off the land. And I'm not going to say that you're going to be a peasant, but you're going to be a peasant. I mean, I guess I really shouldn't say that, but yeah, you're gonna pretty much be a peasant. You're done. You're screwed. You can thank Ursula von der Leyen, Olaf Scholz, Macron, Bojo. You can thank all these geniuses, Brandon. You can thank all these geniuses. You had it all. You had it all. Oh, Germany. How about the autobahns? Porsches going at 150 kilometers an hour all over the place. These beautiful buildings in Germany where, like, at a certain time of day, the whole building, like the all of the window shades and stuff closed to keep the sun out for better energy. I mean, they had it all, and they threw it all away just to get the Ruskies. And now it's back to foraging. So it is what it is. Okay, well, let's go. Again, as I said, I ain't mad at him. Maybe that is a green thing. Maybe that's the whole green thing going on. We'll go back and we'll stop the energy output, and the only thing you have to worry about is carrying around a snow shovel to shovel all the horse poop on the street, because we'll be back to horse and wagons. So the U.S. ain't. The U.S. I mean, gas will be high, but let's face it, the U.S. can make its own fuel. The U.S. can survive. Russia can create its own fuel. Russia can grow its own food. It can create its own energy and grow its own food. The US can do that. Canada can do that. The EU can't do neither one of those things. The EU. But I tell you what you guys can do. You can forage. See how that works out for you. Best of luck with the foraging in the future. All right, so let's move on. I think that's about it. Tell you the truth, I'm tired and hungry, and my God, it's 10 o'clock at night. Thank everyone. Don't forget, you can go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Garland Nixon. If it's $1, if it's $3, if it's $5, every penny helps. If it's $100, if it's $1 million, I'm going to keep going. $1 billion. If Elon Musk is watching, every penny helps. I certainly appreciate that. I have been demonetized, so I can't get anything off of because look, how you're telling the truth, right? You're over the target when you're taking flack. So I'm demonetized. I'm completely demonetized. Unlike Rockfin, my Rockfin people, they're on them. Let me look at Rockfin. Rockfin, I am not demonetized, and there we go. People in Rockfin are tipping me. I'm going to thank the people in Rock. Let me go over to Rockfin. People in Rockfin are tipping me. I appreciate everybody on YouTube. The problem is I'm demonetized, and people were doing all kinds of great things and helping keeping the channel going with super chats, but that's a thing of the past. I don't know if it'll ever come back. Also, PayPal. I'm looking at the show notes at Garland Nixon on PayPal. All right. Holy moly. Zippity day. Thanks a lot for $5 tip. Laura Baza. Well, man, thanks a lot. How about some of the people over here? They said, Garland's kind of digging. Yeah, he's killing it as a troll. I am trolling these people. The logs of the forest have digital markers and barcodes. Oh, that's just hilarious. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. There we go. That's what they're getting. They're getting the stupid prize. It's awesome. I'm confident that the Republicans won't have anything either. Just smoke and mirrors. Oh, of course not. Oh, they look. The Republicans, the idiot Democrats, they want war with Russia, right? The idiot Republicans want war with China. Either way, they want to destroy your lives. They're morons. Either way, I'll put it like this. What's happening in Russia means Europe is going to forage. China's our number one trading partner. What happens with China when the Republicans piss China off? That means we're foraging. So, I mean, luckily for me, where I live, I got a lot of woods. I got land. I got stuff like that. If I want to grow as a garden, I can. I don't eat meat, but there's a lot of deer around here. And, if things get difficult, man's got to do what a man's got to do. I mean, hey, I love those deer, but if not, there's nothing else to eat. Don't hate me, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Uh, Okay, that comment was verbal violence. You've been reported to Scary Poppins for disciplinary action. Oh, not Scary Poppins. Okay, let's do this. Oh, that's great. Loved your show today. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, and let's look around. Any questions before I go? I'll answer a few questions since it is Tuesday. Anyone remember Yule Gibbons went around eating plants and trees? I remember him. He cracked and croaked. Did you ever eat a pine tree? A starving man knows no God, yeah, and he eats anything he wants. We don't have the water for industrial farming. Barcoded sticks. That's right. Last chance to hit the like button. Oh, by the way, smash the like, smash the like button. In the words of Alexander, excuse me, not Mercoris. Who says that? Alex Christophorus. I had Alexander Mercoris on with Ray McGovern. So if you don't get it, if you haven't got a chance, check that out. No doubt PayPal has gotten instructions from YouTube that you should be demonetized. Well, not yet, but I guess that could be coming. But since it hasn't yet, you can still go there and do whatever you need to do to help keep the channel going. How about this? Garland, Russia have so much fuel. In some states in Russia during the winter, the car runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop. They ain't running out. I put it like this: the people in Russia ain't foraging. You can rest the best of that. They're not walking through the woods with a 7-centimeter gauge to pass over each stick to make sure, and then paying 20. Do you really think that people who don't have any energy, they don't have gas, they don't have coal, and their government's done that? Do you really think that they're going to get a basket of wood, a quarter meter, and to go find the government so they can give them $7? Hey man, I don't have any money. I don't have any food. I know. Here's what do you got? I got a basket of wood to keep myself warm. What are you going to do? I got to drive 10 miles to the nearest government office for them to weigh it, and then I can pay them. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Have you seen the Putin interview about the food crisis? BS that Biden said he caused. Yes, I have. Now you have to be an official Russian agent to get kicked off of PayPal. I'm a Russian bot. Come on, I'm an official Russian bot. All right, gang. Well, I am tired. Thanks a lot. Smash the like button. Everyone out there, I've just had fun tonight in a silly mood, but I think it was good stuff. I think it's reality that we're dealing with here. Thanks everybody. The people are tipping on Rockfin. I appreciate that, and I know you guys would too if you could. All right. Last but not least, share this on all of your platforms. Please, please, please make sure you go to my Rockfin channel and subscribe, or become a member if you can afford the $9.99 a month. But if not, then just subscribe and check me out on Rockfin, because they may just toss me off of this. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Thursday night, Matthew Ehret. Matt is brilliant. We're going to talk about globalism and all kinds of things. You are going to love Matt Ehret. You're going to really enjoy that show. All right. Thanks a lot. He's from Canada, and he's a brilliant guy. And I am tired. I'm going to get a little something to munch, and I am going to pass out. I appreciate everybody here. Peace. I'm out.